Hello and welcome to the Packer Franchise Podcast. I'm your host, Packer Franchise, and today we're going to be previewing the Week 5 matchup against the Dallas Cowboys. In my opinion, the second biggest game of the season. I'm here today joined by one of my good friends, PackersCoverage. If you want to say hello.
How's it going, man?
Well, it's going pretty good, I know everyone freaking out about the one loss against Philadelphia Eagles, but I feel really good about this game coming up.
Yeah, man, it's a big week. Cowboys week. It's always special to this fan base. So.
Oh yeah. So before we get right into the game, I want to hear your thoughts about the last week's loss against Philadelphia Eagles, which we lost 34-27 on a I guess you can call it like a PI controversial call, but I want to hear your thoughts real quick on that last game.
Well, man, as we all know, there's definitely some questionable calls. I'm sure covered that up to this point, but at the end of the day, we had so many opportunities to win that game. When you look at both goal line possessions, so we can. Just about any close game you can point to a bad call, but at the end of the day, that loss is on Matt LaFleur, and I think I don't know why he threw the ball 4 times. That surprised me because as we've seen, loves to run the ball with Jones and Williams, but I don't know. I think it's just some growing pains of a new head coach. It's like you said. Not worried about it at all.
Yeah, and I think I don't know if it was Joe Buck or Torkman said anything, but someone mentioned losing Jamal Williams could have been a factor too, since Aaron Jones was pretty much our only legitimate running back in that game after Williams got hurt. So I don't know if LaFleur's because Aaron Jones was not Aaron Jones that night. I'm going to be completely honest. He had 11 rushes.
When you lose a guy, first play of the game, that definitely is going to have some effect on the game script. You got, running backs by committee, but
oh yeah.
I don't know. Despite that, I still think the offense played. It's hard to argue that's the best we've seen of them this season. And it's definitely refreshing to see Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams, really back on that same page and being that duo that we know and love.
Oh yeah. And at the cost, at the price of it, we get to see our defense played their worst game of the season so far.
Yeah, well, I did not expect that. Obviously, I was excited. After the first 3 games, our defense playing really well, but I can't say I was totally sold on us, being an elite defense. I'm pretty sure we had a very similar start in 2015 with we were 6-0, and our defense was ranked really high, and it kind of faded at the end of the season. So it'll be interesting to see how this group holds up.
Oh yeah. With
some, unfortunately, injuries are almost inevitable. So we'll see what we're really made of when we see what kind of depth we have.
But yeah, like we said too, this was in the past, and also, hey, we're 3-1, so that's still pretty good after.
Yeah, man. If you told me 3-1 after 4 games, not too long ago, I'd be pretty thrilled to.
Yeah, I said 2-2 at best, honestly.
The first half of our schedule is pretty legit, man.
Oh yeah, and now we focus our attention to, honestly, a very huge game on the road. I say honestly, I think in my recap video of the Eagles game, if we win at Dallas, we can honestly have a good shot at being, I think 5-2, 6-1 before we play the Chiefs, because this is our last real tough opponent. Any opponent's tough, but before we play the Chiefs, this one's gonna be a good one.
Yeah, honestly, for me, man, when I look at 3 of our next 4 games, we got 3 of these. We're 4 of our next 5. We got the Cowboys, Lions, Chiefs, Chargers.
Oh,
it's just me. Maybe it's
we got Oakland
Sunday Night Football, but
yeah, we play Oakland Week 7.
The Cowboys, they don't scare me, man. When you look at, Dak Prescott, Zeke. Say what you want about them, but they really did not look. They're very good at all last night.
No,
I think definitely shows when they played a better opponent in the Saints than some of the teams they've been playing these last 3 weeks.
Yeah, no, and I was talking to my coworker actually the other day, and he was saying how the Cowboys are ready, because you look at the teams they played so far before that Saints game, they had a combined 0-9 record. Dolphins, Giants, actually, Eli Manning starting over Daniel Jones. I mean, Daniel Jones probably giving Giants a better chance that game, but yeah, they finally got to play a legitimate team in the Saints. And like I said, before we started this podcast on my post, if we can contain Zeke, which that's the biggest worry in this game, is if we can contain him, I think we have a good shot to win the game. But if we don't, I think it's going to be a long game for us because if Zeke is going, that's when the Cowboys offense get rolling.
Yeah, for sure.
But back to that biggest worry thing, I kind of gave my explanation. I want to know your explanation for your biggest worry heading to this game against Dallas.
I mean, my biggest worry is without a doubt the receiving core. Who knows if Devontae Adams is going to play, but I think right now we got to kind of, I guess if you want to say prepare for him not to be, kind of expect that he doesn't, just because.
Mm-hmm.
Worst case scenario, we're without Devontae, and that leaves, Scantling and MVS and Jerron Miles, and while they're both good receivers, it's it's a tough matchup not to have, your number one guy. Receiving core, it is pretty thin, no matter how you look at it.
So the biggest worry for you is depth at the receiving core heading this game?
Yeah, I think this is going to be, when you look at, how do I say this? I think this is going to be a real test for LaFleur. See if he can scheme people open, without, Devontae Adams drawing those, double teams and, really opening it up for everyone else. I think it's going to be a test of him and, everyone in this receiving core. And I'm excited too. Maybe this is a chance to see, guys like Kumaro in the offense more. This could be an opportunity for some of those younger guys too.
If he gets a chance to play, because I think he was on the non-active list last week against the Eagles, if I could be wrong. I think he wasn't playing last week for some reason. I don't know if it was an injury thing or just a healthy scratch or something, but
we'll
yeah.
See. We should see. I don't know, man. Maybe we see Jimmy Graham get a little more involved like he did last week.
Yeah, he can be really good. I just feel
think for us to win this game, someone in that receiving core is going to have to step up.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, now we go pretty much on to the X factor too. We pretty much guess our biggest worry. Mine, Zeke, yours, depth at wide receiver position, and then experience at that position too. But heading to the X factor, an X factor for me is honestly gonna be Aaron Jones. I feel like in this game because Aaron Jones hasn't really, and I feel like in the last couple games he hasn't really been how can I describe it? He's had good runs, don't get me wrong, but he hasn't had that big run and just kept going. Last week, whenever we were at the goal line, I could see why Matt LaFleur didn't run the ball because Aaron Jones was getting stuffed all game long. And even in the Vikings and Broncos game, I kind of wish he didn't give Jones the ball much because once opponents start figuring him out, hey, he's going to get stuffed. But if he can get keep getting those 10-yard rushes or 5-yard rushes, I feel like Aaron Jones will definitely be an X factor in this game, especially against, this Cowboys defense, which, they haven't really had a lot of big rushing attack because Alvin Kamara had 60 yards running or something last night. So, their defense is good, but I just think Aaron Jones can be that X factor dude in this game.
Yeah, and I feel last year he averaged something ridiculous, 5 or 6 yards a carry. I feel like we haven't really seen that same Aaron Jones. Maybe, who knows for what reason, but I would definitely. I think if he gets going in this game, that'd be a big help. This would be a good time for him to really, have that game because he's been scoring a lot, but he hasn't been, like you said, having many of those big runs.
Oh yeah. And back on the X Factor topic, that was pretty much my X Factor. I kind of want to know who you think your X Factor is, whether it's Aaron Jones or a different Packers player you think is going to have a big game, but not many people realize gonna.
I'd honestly have to agree with Aaron Jones because especially with, we're already thin at wide receiver how it is. To open up that passing game, you have to have him honest with the run. If we can't get the running game going, they're going to know we're looking to pass. So
And also the fact, too,
I definitely have to agree.
with Jamal Williams potentially going to be out for this game, it's going to be a lot on Aaron Jones. So he's got to, expecting at least 20 carries in this game. But, yeah.
Definitely big one for Aaron Jones. See what he's made of this week.
But, yeah, he'll be one of the big reasons why we'll win this game. We talk more about the offensive side of the ball, except for, like, our defense against Zeke. How you feeling about our defense against Dak Prescott coming this game?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I think when you look at our defense, we're pretty consistent. We have lit up, a lot of big plays.
Mm-hmm.
That's something, the Cowboys offense, they do have a lot of playmakers, I mean, that Dak and Amari Cooper connection, this is going to be a good test for Jair. I mean, back to Dak Prescott. I don't think it seems he thinks he's worth like $40 million a year.
He's not.
I don't think so, but I definitely think he's good enough where this is going to be a big test for our secondary. We know that front seven has really been, explosive and whatnot. But I mean, and then we got, not just Jair. We got Kevin King going against Randall Cobb, Michael Gallup. I mean, he had a good game last week, but the thing with Kevin King is always, can he stay healthy and can he be consistent? I mean,
he's a great player, but like you said, can he stay healthy and be consistent? Especially against Randall Cobb, which honestly was like, I told myself this. I said, Brian Green is going to regret letting Cobb go. I think letting go of Cobb was the biggest mistake Green Bay has made this offseason. Because he's still a talented receiver, and it shows in Dallas.
Yeah, and he had something you can't buy is that connection with Aaron Rodgers. I think the biggest thing for me was when we let go of Randall Cobb, I just assumed, like, all right, well, we know Gutekunst isn't afraid to, spend a little bit on free agents or, we've got a lot of draft capital, but that replacement just never really came. I mean, we were kind of asking all offseason, like, who's going to be the guy to replace Randall Cobb? Who's going to, step into that role? And we really didn't acquire anyone. And what that says to me, going back to, our lack of depth at receivers, that they had the confidence in those guys to, step up. So,
oh, yeah.
Now's the time to see if that was the right decision to not bring back Cobb. And, it'd almost be poetic for him if he was able to, have a big game against the team that let him go.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully that's not the case.
Yeah, hopefully not. But also, like, back to that inconsistent at, like, wide receiver depth, it definitely shows, like, past couple of games when Aaron Rodgers only relied on Devontae Adams. Because I think one of the Fox commentators that was doing our game said, like, Aaron just doesn't trust the other receivers yet. Which, I don't really think he doesn't trust them. It's just, like, he hasn't worked much more time with them other than, like, Devontae Adams. But
yeah, I mean, and as we've seen, no guy really steps in and just automatically, on the same page there. And it takes a while to build that connection that he had with, Jordy and Cobb that he has with Adams. I think we're seeing a little bit more of it with MBS. I think.
Oh, yeah.
You can tell that's kind of his second guy, for sure. But,
And Geronimo, too. Geronimo had a decent game last week.
He did. I wish he's a very flashy player in my eyes. It feels like Geronimo kind of disappears for a while, and then next thing you know, he's catching a 50-yard bomb, and then then he like fumbles or something. But
yeah,
I don't know. I think the thing I really want to see from this team is consistency. Like, not just step up when needed. Right? I don't know. That's just my big thing with this team is I want us to be consistent, and it feels like so far early on the defense is really hot, and then they kind of, I want to say, fell apart, but kind of disappeared a little bit this last game. And the offense early on was a little shaky. And then we were, looked good on Thursday. So it's kind of like, when are we going to put it all together? Really see what kind of team this could be.
I think this is the game right here, though. I think this is the game, though. And also, like, I'm sorry to cut you off, but, like, back, the biggest thing in this game, too, is how will Matt LaFleur react after his first loss of the season. You got to think about that, too. And I was kind of telling the group chat a little bit, like, I'm really excited to see how he takes this loss into the next game. Because usually, like, when Mike McCarthy loses, they win the following game. Because they adjust their mistakes, and they go out against, like, a real tough team, whatever, and just do their thing. So it'll be really exciting to see what Matt LaFleur does.
Yeah, he's got 10 days to prepare. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, be interesting to see what everyone's watching. I mean, how's he going to recover from throwing the ball 4 times on the yard line? I mean, got quite a bit of criticism for that, and I think rightly so.
Yeah. But all right, going on to the oh wait, were you about to say something? I didn't mean to cut you off.
No.
All right. We're going on to the final score predictions. If Green Bay wins before we get our final scores, we're gonna give like Packers win, Cowboys win. Packers win. They'll win because of what? Like, give me your prediction of why you think the Packers are gonna win.
If the Packers win, it's going to be because the offense was clicking, and I think we are looking at a higher scoring game. Maybe similar to last week, where I'm thinking Packers 30, 31, 35. I'll say Packers 34, Cowboys 31.
Ooh,
that was the score 2 years ago, actually, now that I think about it. But I think we're looking at,
are we going to have some deja vu?
Have kind of a shootout between these teams.
Oh, yeah.
I can definitely see it, happening this week, too.
We're going to see some deja vu. Cowboys take the lead with a minute to go, and Rodgers come back again.
Yeah, I mean, I can see it.
Oh, that would be so awesome. I mean, I want a blowout, but that would be awesome to see happen again.
Yeah.
But for me, Packers will win because, and everyone's kind of been freaking out about the whole run defense. I know the run defense has not been good at all this season, but I feel like in huge games, especially against Dallas, I feel like they'll contain Zeke under 100 yards. I feel like that's their biggest. They'll definitely win, I think, if they can contain Zeke and have him under 100 yards. Because I don't know if you saw my stat I posted, thanks to Ghetto Gronk. Funny meme page, by the way, check him out. Dak Prescott is 1-8 when Zeke's under 35 rushing yards. And we can tell in years past, without Zeke going off, Dak's a mediocre quarterback. No offense. So, yeah.
But yeah, not only that, but when you look back at some of the previous matchups between these teams, it's definitely been Ezekiel Elliott who sets the tone early for the Cowboys. And I would think Matt LaFleur, defensively, he's definitely going to be trying to stop the run early.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think Mike Penn is definitely going to be relying on this run defense in practice during the week. But, Green Bay, back to final score. I'm going to say my prediction 2 years ago, before, the last time the two teams faced, I'm going to say 29-24. That was my prediction 2 years ago, last time the two teams played, and I'm going to stick with that.
Yeah, I can see that. You got some fourth quarter heroics from Rodgers.
Mm-hmm. And, hey, Mason Crosby, I think he still got it. He can definitely kick some major three-pointers for us.
Yeah, I would definitely say he's still got it.
Oh yeah. But that's our final score predictions, and we on my little on my screen, which you'll see in the video soon, I have a little bit of more. So basically, fantasy. How's your fantasy team going?
My fantasy team?
Yeah, how's your fantasy team rolling, or you not do fantasy this year?
I'm being honest, I'm in 5 leagues, man, and I'm off to a good start.
Do you have any Packer players you suggest to people to start for this game coming up?
Well, if I'm being honest, me personally, I try to avoid drafting Packers because, I don't like cheering for any against, any certain players. But for this game, my guess would be Aaron Jones, just because that's who I want to have the most, because without Aaron Rodgers having his top guy, think we're definitely going to have to rely on him a little bit more than usual. And, he's not sharing touches with Jamal Williams, so from a fantasy perspective, I would definitely think that helps him a lot.
Oh, yeah. And for me, oh, man, I'm going to say MVS because, I think Devontae Adams honestly will probably play, to be honest. I don't think Devontae Adams is going to try to I think he's going to try his butt off to play this game. It's a huge game, and, we saw with the concussion 2 years ago. We thought he was going to play, and he turns out to play this game. So, I know, 2 different injuries, but I think if Devontae doesn't play, MVS is going to go off on this team. I think over 100 yards and a touchdown, in my opinion.
Yeah, and, for me, the whole assuming Devontae's not going to play, for me, it's definitely not he's not going to, want to be back or anything like that. I think if I'm the Packers coaching staff, I definitely don't want to risk, as much as we need him, I would not want to risk, putting him out there if he's not ready.
Oh, yeah, that's a healthy decision, too.
Something worse happen. Because, you lose Devontae Adams for the season, we got a, much bigger issue at hand, so.
That's kind of why I keep saying sign a veteran wide receiver, because other than Devontae Adams, who do you got? Michael Crabtree's available. Des Bryant's available. I would love to have one of those guys on a team.
It would, under Ted Thompson, I would say impossible, but who knows, man?
If it's Gutekunst, I think Bryant, or not Bryant, Crabtree.
Yeah, I think we would I think for that to happen, we'd have to lose someone for the season, one of our top 3 guys, but I'm definitely not ruling it out.
Oh, yeah, no.
I don't know, man. Maybe that receiver room could benefit from a little more veteran presence, too.
Mm-hmm. We'll see what happens. We've been pretty... I don't know if I should say. I was going to say, I think we're pretty good with the health so far. Nothing... Yeah, I'm just not going to say. I don't want to be that guy, be like, oh, you jinxed it. But yeah, final score, you said 34-31 Packers. I said 29-24 Packers. In conclusion, big game between... I was hoping both teams will win, so it'd be an undefeated showdown, but 3-1 is pretty good against another 3-1 team, especially a winner of this game will take...
big on the scale of, tiebreaker for the playoffs. It's never too early to start thinking about that.
No, and, especially I think if they win, they'll be like the 2 seed. Sole possession of 2 seed in the NFC. Bearing what happens in Rams Seahawks, but yeah, and, playoff seeding is pretty crucial too, so... In the end, if the Packers are NFC North champs, that 3 and 4 seed could determine, we can play a tough 5th seed or a decent 6th seed. So we'll see what happens. So yeah,
at all. Got to keep the playoffs in mind. Everything, even early season.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, big game coming up, and I really appreciate you for coming on. I kind of asked you a couple weeks ago. I said, you want to do this game? It's one of the biggest games of the season.
Yeah, man, I'm definitely glad it was this one.
Hey, no problem, man. I was thinking that people would do it because last 3 I did it by myself because didn't really have much anybody. Frank Startown was going to do week 2, but he convinced me to do week 9 because he's from the area. So it'll be nice for him to do the Packers-Chargers preview. But hey, let's enjoy the rest of our week and let's get ready for this big game. There's nothing better than this rivalry, honestly.
Yeah, it's definitely one of my favorite out-of-division rivalries.
Mm-hmm. But alrighty, man, I really appreciate you on the podcast. Everyone go follow PackersCoverage on Instagram, or do you have a Twitter too?
Yeah, same username.
All right. Alrighty, guys, thank you for tuning into the podcast. Video, I'll just release it right now. But thanks again for watching, and have a good rest of your week, guys. Go Pack Go.